Treyarch is changing the dates of the Black Ops 7 beta, and I'm kind of wondering if they did this because they're listening to our feedback, or if they were forced. You see, towards the start of the beta, there were people like Rorato Man here who were commenting on the fact that the Steam player numbers for Black Ops 7 were really low compared to Battlefield 6. You can see towards the beginning, it peaked at 74k. Battlefield in its first day had 500,000 on Steam. Now, there are various reasons and arguments to be made for why these statistics might be in disrepute. For example, James says way more people play COD on Game Pass, and also it's a closed beta until Sunday, and the numbers are from Battlefield's open beta. But then Rorato responds saying that Battlefield was code-only access for the first 2 days, and it still hit those crazy numbers. So I think there's room for it to be argued either way, but what is undeniable, I think, is that Call of Duty is feeling the heat from Battlefield. The only reason we're getting these skill-based matchmaking changes, for example, is because of Battlefield. Like, all the COD creators have been tweeting that exact sentiment, and it's like a dream come true. Like T-Dog here saying, did I dream Call of Duty removed skill-based matchmaking? Someone tell me it wasn't a dream. Like, it's such a shock that they've actually done it, but there is a crazy amount of positivity around the whole thing, and it's thanks to Battlefield applying that pressure to Call of Duty. I mean, in that other post I showed you, there's even Battlefield devs. Alexia Christofi works at Battlefield, and she says, you're welcome. Like, they're fully taking the credit for it, as they should. So whether or not it's because of Battlefield pressure, we are still seeing changes to the beta, and one of the key changes, alongside the fact that they've now raised the level cap and stuff, is that, as they say in the Zombies patch notes here, it's been incredibly rewarding to see the community dive into Van Dorn during the beta. Based on your feedback, we'll be extending zombie survival for the remainder of the open beta. For those of you joining the beta today for the first time, we do not recommend any attempts to pet the bear. So, regardless of the source of it, it's happened. And I think that this is really positive. The fact that we got there somehow, even though it wasn't really an optimal path, because there was so much confusion around the Zombies beta dates in the first place. First, we thought that it was coming out the same day as everyone else. Then we thought that the UK blog was correct and it was going to be, the 3rd to the 5th only? Then that was wrong and something else said the 4th, and it's just been absolute chaos. So there's a world where none of that confusion enters the picture at all. That would have been ideal. But even so, the world we're in is one where there was confusion, but that confusion is now ironed out. Treyarch has listened, and we will be getting zombie survival for the rest of the beta. It's a W. It's a W with caveats, but it's still a W. And I think this is one of those things that we saw a lot in Black Ops 6 as well, where Treyarch would do something, and they'd sort of start off in a bit of a rocky place, or they'd make a misstep very early on, but it then did seem like they were quite committed to correcting that over the course of the year. And I think that there were several instances, such as around the time of Citadel Day More, for example, where Treyarch really just sort of sat down and said, okay, we've heard your feedback, guys, about the changes we're making. We've heard you saying we should stop nerfing fun. We've heard you saying we should stop nerfing the swords in the way that we are, etc. We're going to really reevaluate our approach here and try to do right by the community. And it's worth praising them for that. Like, they did make some good directional shifts in their approach. We've seen this so many times in games where a dev studio starts off on the wrong foot and then they sort of try and patch it up later. The only thing that frustrates me is that it doesn't need to be that way around, right? Treyarch often is like, problem, but then they fix it and then it's good. Whereas if we take an example like the Borderlands 4 launch as an example here, obviously they had performance issues, so they were still guilty of bad and then the pipeline to good. But if we look at their patches, the game started out and it was in a place where there were certain characters that were bugged and they needed to be nerfed because they were breaking the game. And instead of nerfing them straight away, the first Borderlands 4 balance patch actually just buffed other characters. So they said, hey, PvE game, why would we nerf fun? You guys are enjoying some of these glitches. We'll just leave them there for now, and instead we'll buff other characters. And then they did the same thing in the next patch. Can you imagine Treyarch doing that? Like, I just can't see it happening, and that's something that I think needs to change in the future. There is a world, right, where Black Ops 7 comes out, and rather than there being loads of problems that we have to tell them about, and then they fix them, it could just work from the very beginning. right? Like, that is a possible thing to do. And I want to be clear, it's noble to see scenarios like Citadel, for example, and see the community's reaction to stuff and then say, okay, we'll make amends based on the community's overall desires. But it would just simply be better to have such a strong direction for the mode that we would go into a new game and we'd be like, oh my God, they've made all these changes that I didn't even know I needed, but actually they all slap. Like, wouldn't that be incredible? And instead, we have this very consistent scenario of, ooh, sorry, we did something wrong. Ooh, sorry, we made the wrong choice. Ooh, sorry, let's patch this up later. Let's make amends. Let's try and win your trust back. Maybe if we stop losing the trust in the first place, we'll all be in a better place. You know what I mean? And so, like, just as I'm doing in this video, and just as John is doing here, saying, wow, they really don't want us on Verdansk after all. Like, it is important to praise them for progress, but it's a different kind of praise to a scenario where I am blown away from the very get-go by something incredible, right? And this question can kind of be explored now with something that is actually new and which is a leak for the time being, but it will eventually become a community talking point very soon, and that's that Mule Kick does seem to be returning. This is posted by Nanokos, who posts a ton of this stuff. He says there's a perk called Zmod, and some of the augment names seem to indicate that it's Mule Kick. You can see General Perk Mule Kick Use, General Perk PhD Flopper, etc. on the other perks. And so in this scenario, it's like, okay, well, it's good that it's coming, and it's been requested for a long time. So in one camp, there's people that are going to be like, thank you, Treyarch, for listening to us, right? Then there's going to be another camp, which is slightly more the camp that I sit in, I think, which says, I'm kind of frustrated that we just keep getting old perks drip-fed to us. I'm sick and tired of it. Can we please do something else? Can we make a bold departure into a new era of zombies, a new design direction, like make it fresh, right? Like, can we do that? So there's those people that are separate to the people that are just praising it for existing in the first place because of the fact that they felt like they got listened to. And so I have sympathy with Treyarch for the fact that no matter how you slice it, Mule Kick coming to the game is a good thing. Like, I don't think anyone would say that Mule Kick is a bad addition. Like, it's probably a good addition. It's just that one person might feel like it's a good addition that should have come 3 years ago, and another person might think that it's a good addition, but it's not a good addition if it replaces new content that we should also be getting, new perks, right? Like, that's the complaint with the drip feed thing. So I sympathize. They're not in an easy position to please all of those people, but that's where strong direction comes in. And that's where someone like Jason Blundell, I think, made a bunch of bold moves that were often not good moves, right? But they were bold. You cannot fault Jason for a lack of imagination. You just can't. And I think that there are places where I've seen Kevin Drew and Corky Lamcool and the Modern Zombies team really succeed in these things, right? Like, the introduction of rarity and armor and all that stuff in Cold War, as much as so many people dislike it, you can't knock them for the fact that it was not a bold choice, right? It was a bold choice. All of this weapons skill stuff they did in Cold War, another bold choice. Like, they had a vision for a new way that zombies could be, and they acted upon it. Similarly, a lot of the boss fights in the modern iteration of zombies are bold. They're exciting. They change the entire way that you flow through a boss fight compared to the old fights. I mean, think about the Shadow Man, right, in Revelations. That's Revelations, the peak of Black Ops 3. And the Shadow Man boss fight is so simple and so straightforward and ends so fast. You compare that to something like Legion, one of the best zombies boss fights of all time, in my opinion, and it's like, yes, I absolutely emphatically praise them for the bold direction that they grabbed there and full sent. I just want to see that happening a bit more, and I want to see it being less reactive. That's just like my only comments for this video. So if they can achieve that this year with making those brave choices, and they recognize the pressure from Battlefield and they make reactive decisions where they need to, but they also try and surprise and delight players. You remember that phrase that they go on about all the time, like every year? All game studios love surprise and delight. I feel like Black Ops 7 Zombies doesn't do much surprising and delighting at present. It just does giving you more of what you already liked in Black Ops 6. If you liked Black Ops 6, let's surprise and delight again. Yeah, let's make that the goal this year. So big W for Treyarch on extending the beta date. I would love some slightly clearer comms than we've had over the last month of, it's going to be Zombies week. Oh, JK next week. Oh, JK week after that. I would love for them to tighten those down, fix whatever internal roadblocks and blockades are causing the zombies' communication to feel so messy and misleading, and the UK blog saying one thing and the other blog saying another, and just like fix all of that, and we've got the recipe for a good year. We really do. They just need to sharpen up a couple of things. So Treyarch for the beta dates. Let's not stop there. Let's keep it going. Let me know if I should get a haircut in the comment section down below, and click through to the video on screen just over there. And that will take you to my news video from yesterday where we talk about the Easter egg leaks for Ashes of the Damned. I'll see you there. Click through.